Hey everybody, it's your girl Pam. With I have a testimony. Guys, I am excited to have my baby here with us today. There are three things that I believe I've done right in this lifetime. And one of those things is having my two boys. So I believe I got that right. So I am joined today with half of that one of those things, which is my baby boy, Miguel Little. So I wanted to spend some time with my baby talking about his career and what he's doing right now and his future plans, and just kind of get to know this pride and joy that I call my baby. What's up, Miguel?
Nothing much, nothing much. Just chilling pretty much. College life, the regular
College
stuff.
life, you know.
Yeah, pretty much.
So y'all, Miguel is the quiet one. He is the one that keeps all of us straight. Malik is the oldest. This is the baby Miguel. Malik is the one that will, yeah, we ain't gonna talk about Malik, what he do. But Malik is the one that takes care of Miguel, or maybe it's Miguel take care of Malik. I don't know who takes care of who. All I know is I was blessed with two amazing boys, and here is one of them. So we're not going to prolong it. Miguel, let's jump into this thing. Ready?
All right, let's go.
All right. So Miguel, talk to me a little bit about what you're doing right now.
Okay, so currently I'm in UNLV, college. I'm on my third year so far, and it's been pretty cool. Just doing what I can to get internships for art and things of that nature. Been constantly improving in my art, and I'm trying to get my artwork out there. I've been doing a variety of things pretty much. Just when I'm outside of just chilling, pretty much just school, internships, art. That's pretty much it. Just
Okay.
sum it down.
So what is your major?
Art.
Okay. What made you pick art?
Well, multiple things. One, I knew it was going to probably be the best career choice or best towards my career choice because I want to become a character designer. So I knew that would be the best bet for me. As well, I just really love art, always have. And it's kind of like one of the best things to do in my free time. And as well, it's one of the things that just keeps me happy. I'm always drawing, whether it be something as small as a Dragon Ball Z character or even making up my own characters. Art has always been something I've enjoyed. So it's just cool to do. So I wanted to make it my career.
So how does it make you happy? Tell me, when you're drawing, what happens? What place do you go to? You said that's a thing that makes you happy. What about it makes you happy?
It's just the fact that like I can use my creativity to create something, whether it be something I'm just a fan of. Like I've said it multiple times, I'm a fan of Dragon Ball Z. Drawing stuff like that, it just makes me happy because one, it reminds me of when I was much younger. Two, it's like these characters are something that I'm really invested in, and when I'm drawing it out, it's like I'm pretty much, it's like playing a video game pretty much, in the sense where it's like you're learning more about characters as you go, and you're pretty much the designer of this, and it's like your own world that you've created, and that's what makes it happy, or makes me happy. I don't know if I described that well at all, but I did my best.
Okay, so when you're making your characters, what are your characters based off of? And are we talking cartoon characters? Do you do anything with realism? What type of art do you do?
I kind of do all types of art, but I strictly focus towards like cartoon, video game type characters.
Okay.
Because that's where I'm like most happy. And so
Why?
for cartoon and video game characters, it's just the idea of creating something not only that I can enjoy, but that somebody else can enjoy. And because growing up, I know what not only just like Malik, because back when Malik was drawing, like he was drawing comic books and stuff, that was like, it was like incredible to me. Like people like Malik or even Ken Sugimori, Akira Toriyama, the people who created like Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon. It was like you see these characters and then it just gets you immersed into the game because the designs are just so good. And now you're having a better experience just because of how great the designs are. And it's
Okay. So kind of break it down because you have to remember that you may be talking to a
oh, I'm
world
sorry.
of people who
Oh
don't
yeah.
understand when you call these names out. So
Okay.
you gotta paint this picture for us. Pull us
Um.
into your world. So
Okay.
what is it about the character itself that speaks to you and pulls you in? What is it about those characters?
So the main thing that pulls me in, well, usually with the characters, and this is like in design as a whole, pretty much characters are usually a reflection of the story or the situations or even the whole entire, like, I guess that's the best way to say it, but vibe of the game itself. For example, so we all know Super Mario Brothers. That's pretty much, he's a part of character design as well, because all of his elements were made to show that he's a plumber, but there's also something special about him. He's a hero plumber, pretty much, and that's kind of, it's like a great design. It gets you immersed better into the game, and when you're immersed into the game, it brings a greater enjoyment to you. Um,
Okay.
there's even some other characters that I can name. I don't know if anybody does know anything about these ones. I'd have to say one of my favorite character designs of all time. I don't know if you'll know or not, but it's Goku.
Yeah.
So pretty much Goku is meant to just be strictly a fighting dude. He just strictly loves to fight. That's mainly it. He's a martial artist, and he was ever since he was a kid. So his design was created to reflect that. And he's also based off of a whole entire Eastern myth dealing with like a journey to the West. So all these things were tied into the design. And when it's done in such a great way, it makes you more immersed into the story itself.
Okay. Okay. So that is understandable. So my question to you now is because you talk about gaming. So are you a gamer? And by gamer, we mean do you like to play the PS5, the PlayStation 5, or
Oh,
are
most
you
definitely.
a Nintendo guy? Are you a Xbox type of guy?
Mhm.
Are you a gamer? And when you talk about you get immersed in the game, what is it about the game itself that draws you in? Not just the character itself, but
Mhm.
what is it that causes you to want to play games?
Okay. So I would definitely say I'm a gamer. I love playing PlayStation 5 games, Nintendo games, Xbox games. But the thing that draws me in, obviously, the thing that first catches your eye is the character designs themselves. If you have a game with a bad character design, or the main person of the game looks really like nothing connected to what the game is, it's not going to really draw you in. But the thing that keeps me in the game is usually the story itself. Usually, if a game has a great story, I will play it all the way through because it gets you immersed. So when something bad happens, you feel for those characters that you're watching on screen. If something good happens, then it's like you're there. You're the character, and you're pretty much putting yourself in their shoes. So that's what kind of keeps me into the game.
Okay. So are you hoping to so where are you hoping to go with your career? Are you hoping to become a artist that creates more designs? Are you hoping to create your own game, build your own game? What is your hope after you graduate college?
I mean, I have a lot of aspirations, but my big thing that I want to accomplish is definitely become a character designer.
Okay.
Just It's always been a passion of mine. It's always been cool to like just draw out my own characters and have them pop up in the game. I want to be a senior character designer and create something that can affect like the younger generation, older generation, everybody alike, and kind of help them to get immersed in the game just like I was with my favorite artists growing up. So yeah.
Okay. So would you say that your because you talked a little bit about when it comes to art, you've always loved art. And that's always because I remember you growing up, you've always been that kid that would just sit down and you would go through tons of paper where you were just teaching yourself. So you weren't taught to draw, you were just self-taught. So you've perfected your craft yourself. So in perfecting your craft, would you say that art is an avenue for you to escape reality? Or would you say that this is kind of like your own place of comfort, or is it just what would you consider it to be?
To an extent, I do say it. Well, it is a way to kind of escape reality too. It pretty much shifts my focus off of all the things I'm dealing with at the moment, and it allows me to just create something. And it pretty much just makes me shift my mind away from anything that I may be dealing with at the moment. So I definitely do think it's like an escape, but it's
Okay.
also a way for me to express my creativity too. It allows me to just have any thoughts that pop up in my head. I can just draw it on a piece of paper or so, and now I have a completely new character that I've just completely thought of. I've wrote out the story for it, and now I could just use it in whatever I want to use it for. But it's just
Okay.
mainly that. So
Okay, let's talk. Let's kind of shift a little bit. I'm going to shift a little bit because I want us to talk about your your college experience
mhm.
right now, and then we'll come back to your art and your future and what your aspirations are. Let's talk a little bit about college. How has your experience been with college?
uh, I'm gonna be honest. It's been cool. It's been cool. I personally, I'm strictly focused on like doing what I got to do to graduate and get in the best position to succeed. So I'm really not at parties and stuff like that, like at all. So that's it's mainly been just to me, but that could be partially on my own fault because I could do more at the college, but it's just been alright.
Okay, so you haven't been to a party.
No ma'am,
You don't go to parties, boy?
no ma'am.
Okay, I'm just making sure you just ain't saying that because you sitting here being interviewed by your mama.
I mean, I say it off the interview too. It's the truth. I don't go to parties.
Okay, so you're not engaged in any parties, anything of that nature. Have you gotten engaged in any type of school clubs? Anything at the school? Have you gotten in engulfed in clubs and things of that nature at the school?
Not yet. This semester I've been trying to work on getting internships and even work study at the school, but
Okay.
I have not gotten into any clubs or anything of that nature. I was looking for art clubs and stuff, but
Mhm.
the only thing they have is just a graphic design type of club, and that's not the exact same thing. It's completely different. It's like a separate field, so
Okay. All right.
I really just haven't gotten engulfed with it.
Okay. Okay. All right. So your experience, are you liking college, not liking college? What's your feeling toward college?
If I'm being honest, not liking it at all. And it's just mainly this has always been something like when it comes to school, I've always never truly loved school. But yeah, I'm definitely not liking college. I just want to graduate at this point. So
So let's talk about that a little bit
mhm,
because that's very interesting for you to say that you've never really liked school, period.
mhm.
But yet you've always been a straight A student, an honor student. You've always excelled. So how is it that a young man that doesn't like school is a honor student? You are top of your class right now. You graduated high school top of your class. And I'm gonna even go back further than that. You graduate, you because in Arkansas, you graduate from middle school to high school. So you graduated middle school top of your class. If I'm correct, I can't remember what you were you valedictorian or salutatorian at
For
middle
for middle
school.
school, I was valedictorian.
Okay, so middle school, you were valedictorian, which is the top of your class, and
Yes,
you
ma'am.
graduated middle school with honors. Then you go into high school, and you graduated as salutatorian, correct?
Hmm. Yes,
And
ma'am.
that's second top in your class, and you graduated with all these honors. And now you're actually at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. You're in an honors program, and you're right now top of your class or headed there because you're in what I would say probably the top 5%, something like that. Your GPA for last semester alone was 3.9.
I think so.
I think your overall is maybe 3.7.
About 3.7, but I
Yeah.
should be in like somewhere in the top of my class, probably top 10% or something like that. I'm not sure.
Okay. So for someone who doesn't like school, what is the motivation that pushes you to want to excel? Because most kids that don't like school, they fail. They don't give it their all. So what is your drive? What is it that drives you?
Truthfully, and this is the truth. It's always been the main driving factor for me has been you, Malik, dad, and grandma. It's been y'all five, and that's always been the case. Because I know what I want to do with this degree. I want to do big things and make it so where everybody is successful, not just me. Like, and as well, I know that I have a duty to do. I was given an opportunity that grandma wasn't given, that you weren't given, that dad wasn't given, that Malik wasn't given, that dad wasn't given. I have no place to take advantage of that and not do what I got to do. And I know I'm capable of making all A's, so I'm gonna do what I got to do, and give it my all, because that's what y'all taught me to do. So that's always
Wow.
y'all have always been a motivating factor.
Wow. Well, I want to say, I definitely, while I appreciate the fact that you give myself, your dad, George, and then your stepfather Anthony and Malik, and grandma, my mom. While I definitely thank you for giving us the beautiful accolades and saying that we are your motivating factor. While I appreciate that, I still have to put it back on you, because a lot of kids have had a upbringing like you have, and they still kind of was led astray, or they still didn't give it their all. So there still is an internal drive in you, despite us, that still pushes you to strive for more, to strive for better, to want more out of your life. So there's still that internal drive that you have that pushes you to keep going, to want to do better, because you could have, I mean, to be honest, things could have been a whole lot different. I could have been that mother that didn't encourage you or push you, same with the rest of your support group. But there was still something in you that pushed you, that motivated you, that told you you had to strive, you had to be successful, you have to accomplish greatness. There's still something in you. So while I appreciate it, I still have to say, Miguel, you're doing this because of your internal drive, because you're focused, you're locked in, you want more for you. It's always great to know that we've had an impact on the young man that you are today and who you've become. And I know for me and Anthony and George and Malik and mom, I know all of us are grateful that we played a part in you being such an amazing young man. We are all grateful for that. But I still have to say that you're great because of who you are. You're great because something in Miguel wants a different life. Something about you want to see success. Something about you want to get into art. Something about you pushes you to succeed, to success, to want more, to do more, to be better, to be great. It's still something within you. So I give you your own applause, Miguel, because no matter what, you've always been that kid that you strive to excel in your academics, and you've always been tough on yourself. And you would get hot, you would be so mad with yourself if you brought home a B or whatever. You always pushed yourself for A's and wanted to be successful and achieve the higher grade and do better. And you're still doing it. For a kid that don't like college, you're still doing it. So you gotta, toot your own horn a little bit and pat yourself on the back and say, hey, you know what? You're doing this thing. God made you who you are. And ultimately, you're being the young man that God has called you to be. You're staying focused and being who he has called you to be. And I'm proud of you for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very proud of you. So for a young man who has that internal drive, what advice would you give to other kids who may feel like you feel when it comes to school? They may not necessarily like school. What advice would you give to kids who really don't like school, but yet they want something more in life? What would you tell them?
Well, this is something I've always said, and it's crazy because no one really noticed it, but I got it from a Full House episode, and it's perseverance is key. That's the one thing I have to say. You always have to, even though like in life, there's gonna always be things you don't like, whether it be a job, whether it be, I don't know, somebody you may know, something of that nature, but you always got to push forward no matter what, because I promise you, the end is always going to be better if you give it your all than it is to just give up. It's never better to give up. And I understand like how you feel when it comes to like, or how most people are going to feel when it comes to school. No one likes to do school. Nobody, except for people who really love it. But most people are not going to like school. It's always about the bigger picture for me. And that's what y'all have to look at, because even back at Southwest, I was always looking at the bigger picture of what I wanted to do, what I was aiming for. And that's what drove me or kept me motivated to keep going. In Cloverdale, I'll be 100% honest here. I was mainly trying to prove something, which I was just trying to prove that I could do it in the first place. And that's why I gave them all there. But at Southwest, I was looking at the bigger picture. I knew what I was capable of, and you just have to know what you're capable of and just give it your all no matter what. Because I promise you, the end is always going to be better if you give your all, stick through with it, and take the easier path personally.
Okay. So, Miguel, while you were growing up, oftentimes, as parents, we try to mold you into something else. You've always been a kid that loved art. So, what advice would you give to parents that are trying to push their kids into things that they may not like, such as sports? Because we tried you in different sports, but that wasn't your passion. What advice would you give to parents that may be trying to push their kids into being something that they're not passionate about? What would you tell parents?
Personally, I would have to say, you have to also, like, when it comes to parents, like you have to look at your kids and just know what they're passionate about. Obviously, like from my own personal experience, I was in football, the band, there was I think something else, soccer even, and I was never passionate about any of those things. And by pushing me into those things, it made me kind of grow to dislike them even more and more and more. So it's like, if your kid wants to play football, let him play football. If he wants to do art, let him do art. It has to be something. Like, I understand if there's a case where it's like nothing really he's passionate about or something like that, but it's never good to force. I'd say in some instances, I will say though, it is probably okay to force, because it helps the kid to discover himself. If he likes football, he wouldn't know it if he doesn't try it. But if he doesn't like it, it's okay to allow him to try something else.
Okay. Good advice. That's some real good advice. Okay. So, what would you say has been the one lesson that you've learned throughout I'll say your academic journey first? What has been the one lesson you've learned?
The one lesson I've learned, that's the thing. For honestly, the biggest lesson I learned, and this is in college, you got to give it your all. No matter what. Because in my first semester, I'll be fully transparent here, I was struggling really, really bad. And it was to the point where like I ended up with A's in one B, but I had a D in one class, a C in another class, and I was straight up struggling. And it's because I wasn't giving it my all. I wasn't studying like I needed to. I wasn't reading my books like I needed to. I thought I could get away with doing what I was doing at Southwest, but no, you have to give it all you got. Full effort, and then I promise you the results will always end up better if you do that. And
I want to preface this conversation by saying, although he may have struggled, he still got them grades up by the end of the semester to all A's and one B. I just want to throw that out here because of, had I seen that, we would be having a whole different conversation right about now. I just thought I'd throw that out there. Okay, we'll move on now. Back to the conversation at hand. So, okay. And that's you know what though, son, the one thing about it is that happens to a lot of college students. That happened to me when I first left home to go to college. I thought I could do the same thing that I was doing in high school, and I ended up doing everything but being focused, being a procrastinator, doing work at the last minute, half reading the assignments, not reading the assignments, and thinking I was just going to walk in there. I could skim the information, walk up in the class and make a on the test. And no, that didn't work that way. So I ended up, I struggled my first semester too. And that's okay, because at some point you wake up and realize, ooh, this ain't gonna work for me. So at what point did you realize that you needed to do better?
Well, it was, and this is the truth, 100% the truth. It was a conversation I had with you, and it pretty much, you straight up called me out on what I was doing, because you seen that I was procrastinating. You seen that I wasn't giving my full effort. You seen that I was not going to actually see like the advisors so that I can get like better help with the assignments. You seen I wasn't giving it my all, studying like I needed to, and you called me out on everything that I was pretty much doing. And after that, I was like, yeah, I got to change this because I'm not locked in. And while I think I am, because subconsciously you're always going to think, oh, I am giving it my all. No, you have to literally look at what you're doing and see, yeah, I wasn't giving it my all. I was probably only giving 10%. And as a result, I got 10% of the results instead of what I usually do or what I usually obtain. So that was kind of the changing point for me.
Oh, wow. So would you say right now that you are giving it 100% of yourself?
Most definitely. Most definitely.
Okay. Okay. So with that being said, Miguel, let's talk a little bit about where do you see yourself once you graduate from college, where do you see yourself? What is your end goal? What is it that you want to accomplish? Where do you want to be?
I just want to, and this is my biggest thing. I've always wanted to. I want to see my family just be rich, successful. Everybody's happy. I have a great character design job as a senior character designer, and I'm just doing what I love while also being able to help provide or give back to people that's always gave their all to me. That's what I want to do.
Okay, so do you see yourself working for a company, or do you see yourself starting your own company? What is your goal?
My biggest goal is to work in Nintendo. I want to work for Nintendo. I've always wanted to. It's always been a dream of mine to, whether it be something like designing a Pokemon, whether it be designing a Mario game. I've always wanted to. And eventually I'd end up doing other things too, like making my own game. And because I wanted to make my own game with Malik, starting a YouTube channel, just talking about games and stuff that interests me and stuff. So yeah, I have a bunch of them, but the main goal is to just work at Nintendo as a senior character designer and be able to provide everything back to my family.
Okay. So if that's your ultimate goal, then what are you doing to accomplish those goals? We know you're going to college. We know you're trying to obtain your degree right now. You're going to obtain your degree. We already know all of that. What are you doing to lock in your ability to possibly work for Nintendo one day? What are you doing to get yourself out there to be seen by Nintendo or be discovered? What are you doing right now?
So currently this year, I've kind of started doing way better with like, and I mean the year just started, but I'm just trying to do better by looking at various work studies so I can get like so I can have that work experience under my belt. I've been looking at internships. I'm currently applying for one right now so I can have some form of art experience outside of just school. I'm also trying to take various art classes so I can refine my abilities, and I'm even refining my abilities while I'm here, just trying to get better. So I can, because I know a major part of art is improving. The improvement, it never stops, so you got to keep getting better and better. And I've been just constantly doing all these things so I can get on the right track.
That's good. Okay, so Miguel, there have been people along the way that have invested in you. Um, what would you tell um, those individuals that have invested in you? And when I say invested in you, they may have invested money, time, um, whether however that investment was. What would you say to them, those individuals that have invested in you? And feel free, if you want to call their names, that's great. But what would you say to the individuals that have invested in you, people that may have bought you equipment, come to see you? What would you say to those individuals?
Well, I'm definitely going to call some names. I would have to say Miss Yolanda, Uncle Chris, Auntie Shannon, Uncle Tim, Aunt Shamik, every single person that has invested and pretty much gave their all to help me succeed. I just want to say thank you to y'all, because y'all didn't even have to do that. All the blessings y'all have been to me, y'all didn't have to. And because y'all did, it's helped me get so much further and helped me do so much better and even strive way closer to where I want to be than I would have without y'all help. So I want to say thank you to every single one of y'all. And if I haven't called your name, I'm sorry. But I just want you to know that you're thanked as well. I'm like, words can't describe how much I just appreciate y'all for everything y'all have done. Every single thing. So
Very good. And I would like to definitely say thank you to those individuals as well. You have had a host of individuals that have poured into you, that have helped you along the way, and help you to get to where you are. And for that, we're truly grateful, for Miss Yolanda, and her husband, for Mr. Barry, for, like you said, Chris, my brother Chris, and Shannon and his wife, Shamik, your auntie, for George, your father, Anthony, your stepdad, Malik, your brother, whom you're in Vegas with.
yeah,
We want to say to all of you, thank you for pouring into Miguel, for being present with Miguel, for being that sounding board that he may have need for the financial blessings that you've sent his way, for just the kind words, the encouragement, everything that you've poured into him, the upbringing, the rearing, whatever you've done to help him along this journey. We say thank you to each of you. So Miguel, what would you say is the biggest need for a college student?
I feel like we all know this one. It's always money. But when it comes to college, it is very expensive. You always going to be, especially as an artist, you're going to be buying art materials nonstop. You're going to always need books. You're always going to need things like that. Money is always a factor. But if you're talking about more so like what you need to succeed, I would say you definitely need to work on study habits, because there's going to be, like, if you procrastinate like I do sometimes, you're going to be up all night studying when you could be sleeping, preparing for the test because you already know the information. But because you procrastinated, now you're doing it at the last minute, and that's not the way to go. Another thing too is definitely like it's always going to be hard being on college campus, far away from family. So pretty much hearing from family and stuff like that, it always can brighten up your day. And I need to work on calling more to be honest, because I don't call my family enough at all. So it's always just great to have that support system, just calling me, checking up on me, and stuff like that. So I'd say those are mainly like the biggest needs. But
So, and you're right, the financial piece, oh my goodness, have mercy, Jesus. And I'm grateful for everybody that has sent you money and continue to send you money, because college is no joke. While you are out there on scholarship, it still doesn't cover all the expenses that you're required to pay. So there's still a ton of expenses that you have. And I guess one of my questions for you, Miguel, is, when we talk about the financial component, you had the opportunity to go to several universities right here in Arkansas, full ride scholarships right here in Arkansas. But instead, you chose to go to Las Vegas, Nevada, to go to school on your scholarships cover maybe about, I'll say about 3/4 of your stuff, maybe about a half to 3/4 of your stuff.
I'd say so.
What made you go to Vegas versus staying in Arkansas and going when you could have had a full ride? What made you decide to go the opposite direction?
So truth be told, the main reason, well, there's several reasons, but one, it was overall just an ideal kind of situation. Minus the fact that my mom, my dad are completely different states. That's kind of makes it less ideal. But I'm up here with my brother, so that's one of the main reasons. And as well, it was like I knew that there would be more opportunity for me as an artist, more so either on the West Coast or on an East Coast college. And UNLV is kind of, from when I was looking up and researching, it had a really great art program and stuff. So I wanted to kind of go there. And as well, some of the colleges, not to point out any in specific, but yeah, they don't even have an art program. So it was kind of like there was nothing I really could do in regards to what I was trying to do. So,
okay. So ultimately, while they do have the program, you would say that your brother probably played a huge part in your decision to go out to Vegas as well.
Most definitely.
Yeah. And I can understand that. Because what people don't understand is that you and your brother have always been really close. If truth be told, your brother, I mean, I swear he was your dadgum daddy half the time, but y'all have always been really close. And then he left and went into the service. He went into the Army. And so y'all ended up having this gap of time, about 6 years where he wasn't around us full time. And then once he came home from the service and moved to Vegas, I could understand this was your opportunity to reconnect and be back close to your brother, because y'all have been inseparable, oh God, since you've been born. So I'll just put that little caveat out there that you guys have always been really close. And I mean, Malik would take you to ball games with him. If he was going to the store, you've always been his hip. So he always had his little brother with him. No matter what, no matter where he was going, it was always you and him. So I can understand why you would want to be with your big brother. Doesn't mean that you miss your family any lesser, or that you think about me and your dad's any lesser. It just means that you wanted to be near your big brother, and there is nothing wrong with that. So my question is, do you see yourself staying on the West Coast, or Do you think that you're going to end up moving to, whether it be another area? What is your goal as far as relocation once you graduate?
So it's kind of gonna be a multitude of factors that play into that.
Mhm.
Well, if I can, my ideal situation is always to move back to either Arkansas or Georgia. It's always gonna be my ideal situation because truthfully, the Las Vegas life is way too much for me. The gambling, the drinking nonstop, all that is I'm just here seeing it. I'm not doing it. I don't want to participate in it. Uh, I just mainly want to. That's always been my goal to kind of move back home if I can and just have a job there to where I can work and then just send in like my work more so like remotely or so. Um, but it's all dependent kind of on where I guess where the market is, and two, wherever I get employed at. But I know for sure I'm probably not gonna stay in Vegas. Most likely, I'm not gonna lie. I know for sure.
So Miguel, that brings up a really good point right now. You're 21, you just turned 21. How do you avoid the peer pressure of drinking? And because most kids your age, once they hit that age, they're going to try the alcohol. They may smoke a little bit. They may be trying all these things that they've not been able to try. How do you avoid all of that temptation at your age? What is it that keeps you from testing the waters, so to speak?
Truth be told, it's just simply a case of I never had interest in it. And I know if I'm not interested in something, I'm just not gonna ever do it. I don't want to be involved with drinking or any of that stuff, so I avoid it, and that's mainly it. When it comes to peer pressure, the best way to just avoid it is by just knowing yourself. Because if you know you don't like to drink, don't let somebody peer pressure you into doing it. Because you're still going to either not like it, but you're just going to be unhappy doing it. So I personally know I'm not. I don't understand it. Two, I don't really want to. I just rather do me and not drink, not smoke, not do any of that other stuff.
Okay. That's a good answer. Okay. I mean, because we do know that can be kind of tough for a young man going to college. And that's the first thing that, some kids, once they're out of the house with their parents, they want to test and taste the alcohol, see what it tastes like. They want to try the marijuana or whatever the case may be. And to my knowledge, you've never done any of that. Nothing. You've never wanted to, and I would like to think that you are a pretty honest kid, and you've never had a reason to lie to me before. One of the things we've always told you is that you can be honest with us and you can tell us anything. We'd rather know what you have done than to get a phone call saying you've tried something and we don't know how your body responds to it. So we'd rather, if you're going to try it when you're around us so that we know how you respond to it. And to my knowledge, you've never tried anything. And even turning 21, you were offered a glass of wine and you still said no. So I say that because I wanted to say that because it speaks to who you are, and it speaks to the fact that you are still a kid that, or a young man, shall I say, that you don't let anybody pressure you into anything. Absolutely nothing. Um you are that young man that you stick to your guns. You hold fast to your guns, and you're not changing for anybody or anything. And I have to say I truly admire that about you, is that you don't let anybody change who you are. And you don't let your situations change you. Even when you are going through struggles and you're having things that may arise up, if you're going through, whether it be financial woes or struggling with school, what, you never let anything change who you are, and you always find a way to smile through it and press forward. So I have to say I'm proud of you, son. That is an awesome trait to have. So I'm very proud of you for standing your ground and for being the young man that we see before us today.
Thank you. I just do the best I can.
You're doing good. You're doing good. I think that you continue to make me and your dads and your brother and Yolanda and this family proud. You continue to make all of us proud. And we're very proud of you. And if we don't say it enough, I'm gonna say it to you now. You make us proud, son. You make us proud. And I know sometimes you feel like you're busting your butt and it's not being seen, but it is being seen. Everything about you is being seen. We see you. We see the hard work that you put in. We see that you're focused. We see that you're locked in. We see that you don't let anything change you. We see that you're still a God-fearing young man. You don't let anything shift you, period. You are an amazing young man, Miguel. And one of the greatest blessings that God could have ever given me. So I'm grateful to be able to sit here and look at this wonderful young man in front of me and see all that you've accomplished. Despite everything that life has thrown at you, son, you have continued to prevail. You have continued to be successful. You have continued to give it your all. No matter what life threw your way, you continue to stay focused and push. Even in the midst of grandma passing away, you still push through that. So, son, I am forever, forever grateful of the young man that you are and that you will continue to become. I look forward to seeing all that life is going to bring your way. I look forward to seeing you walking around here with your $1 million company, your multi-million dollar, let's speak that thing into existence. Your multi-million dollar company. I look forward to seeing that one day because I know it's going to happen. I already know it's going to happen because your art is so incredible. And I hope that throughout this video, I hope that Malik will be able to drop in some of your artwork so that people can see some of the wonderful drawings and that artistic ability that you have that baffles us. You are a self-taught young man and continue to shock us all with your gift and with your talent. So, for most people that don't know, Miguel is the one that came up with the collage of the pictures and I Have a Testimony. The graphic that you see with all the beautiful pictures and I Have a Testimony written, Miguel put all of that together. Miguel does the artwork. He's the artsy one. So when I say I am blessed to have such an amazing young man, son, you continue to make me proud. You make me proud every time I look at you. So I'm blessed to have you in my life. I'm blessed to have you and I'm blessed and look forward to see all that you're going to accomplish.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Got me a little emotional. I'm not going to lie, but yeah.
Son, you have something to be emotional about. When you look back over your life and you see all the things that God has brought you through. See, for the audience, all they see is Miguel now. The audience does not know that this is the same child that up until the age of 7 had uncontrollable seizures. From the moment he was born all the way up until he was 7, Miguel had seizures all the time. They call them what was it?
Febrile or something?
Febrile seizures, yeah, where every time he would get sick, anytime he would spike a temp, Miguel would instantly seize. So People that watch you right now, they don't see that side. They don't see how you had to deal with those seizures and how you were being tested, and had the doctor said when you turned 7 that if you had one more seizure, they were going to diagnose you with epilepsy. People don't see that side. They don't see all of what you went through as a young kid, that even though you would, we would put you into soccer, you couldn't finish soccer because you would have a seizure out there. So we had to pull you out of sports. So people didn't get to see that young child that went through all of that. All they get to see is the now, and they get to see a young man who's thriving in his academics and thriving and headed toward greatness, headed toward success. They get to see the now, but they don't see the struggle that Miguel went through before. Only I get the benefit of knowing that. Malik get the benefit. Our family get to know the struggle that you had. But the world will now get to know that this young man went through a whole lot of stuff. But this man never lost faith. You never lost faith. You never lost hope. No matter what you were going through. Even in the midst of me and your father divorcing, you still kept the faith. And you still pressed on. When we relocated to Arkansas, you still continued to keep the faith, and you continued to stay focused and press on. People get to see the now, Miguel. They don't know all that